I think that the only reason Marxism exists is to try to ensure that poor people don't exist, which is in theory a great goal, but in practice what that happens is rather than poor people, it's actually beggars who are targeted to not exist. What does this mean? It means Marxists have no problem with poor people. In fact, they love the poor. And if they're sincere Marxists, they ought to really, really love the poor better than a Christian even could. A Marxist ought to love the poor more than any other category of person ever could, right? But a poor person often will turn into a beggar because they want for things that a rich person doesn't. And desire, once it thickens and quickens the blood, if a person is bold and daring and smart, will make them be tempted by the grave sin of beggary, of begging. And we can't have that in a Marxist state, obviously. Because why? Because then you don't have a clean and efficient operation of elements and conditions, and you don't have an equilibrious situation, which is obviously desirable. So I'm making this video for any Marxists who are watching, or anyone who likes Karl Marx, just to say that I consider Karl Marx to be an incredibly influential thinker. Obviously the guy had a brain like, the Titanic, but I use that metaphor as a silly, on purpose, rhetorical snare, because I think that there was one tiny pinhole in the Titanic of Marxist mind, and I think it has to do less with economic theory than it does with culture, and the fact that he came from a certain place in a certain setting, and that if you read his biography and study his life, not that I have extensively, but I've gleaned things. And what I've gleaned overall is that Marx was a highly motivated man, that Marx was a highly studious man, that Marx was a highly intelligent man. What's the pinhole? Let me go on with compliments first. Let me compliment the fuck out of Marx, to just compliment him first. He had wacky hair. He looked funny, but he seems like he was good with people in his life. Like he was a good, honorable man. But the pinhole is that he never did any manual labor. You see, Karl Marx never did any manual labor. And I'll say it again, Karl Marx never did any manual labor. So, the problem with Marxism, the problem with Marxists, isn't Marx's thinking. It's actually the figure of Marx himself, and the fact that Marx was idolized historically and he's made into an icon, except he never did any manual labor. And so there's a paradox that, the dialecticians tried to unravel, and I just don't think they really succeeded all that well, in my humble opinion. And we can go to the library together, and I'm headed there right now. I love all Marxists, and I love Karl Marx with a passion.